Alright, so since the last video I made on this thing, I did get it running. So I still got some wires I got to go in and fix, just tidy them up. Went down to the junkyard and picked up some connectors and stuff. I gotta fix the wires that's going to the throttle body, a couple of the sensors. That one wire that's broken that I got shoved in the plug, I snipped this off another car, and I'm going to retrieve it out of here and connect it to the other wire. So right now I'm working on the gas tank, and I was able to get the fuel pump out, and I found a hole in the gas tank. It's right where the strainer sits on the fuel pump, and the strainer has two little metal strips in it, and I guess by it sitting there so long and the moisture building up in the tank, it rusted it out. So I've got this all pretty much clean. I gotta clean it some more, and I got the fuel pump out, and I can reach in there, and I don't know if you can see my hand. I have to reach in from the top, but I can reach my hand pretty much in there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to put some of that gas tank repair stuff that you buy, and I'm gonna try and patch it from inside and outside. It's got a small pit right here, and this is the major part here. So they had two different types. They had a type that is kind of like a fiberglass patch, and I don't know if I trust that, because the strainer sits real low right on top of this, and I'm afraid it might rub it unless I put it on both sides. But anyway, oh, so here's the old strainer. You can see where it's got all the rust on it. Turn this light out. And that's right where it rusted out. It was just sitting right on top of the metal. So I picked up a brand new strainer. They did have it in stock. I'll get it out of the box. Now this one's made out of plastic, which is good because that won't rust. And I picked up some of this JB Weld tank repair epoxy. You're supposed to be able to do it like magnet steel. You put it in your hand and kind of roll it up until it's tacky, I believe, and then you stick it on there. And it says great for fuel tanks, metal tanks, portable water tanks, lawn and garden, metal surfaces, welding, no welding, ethanol resistant, and chemical resistant. So I picked up two of those. I'm going to try and smear that in. The tank looks good inside just for that one spot. And I went to my stash pile, and I had this Aerotex, it's dusty, fuel pump, which is the same fuel pump as the one that came out of it, which is no good. It just slides down in this housing, and the strainer snaps onto here. And I got to put the top of the unit back on, hook the hose up, two wires. I've already tested the pump, which is a brand new pump, so that saved a couple bucks. So I'm going to get to patching the gas tank with this fuel tank repair putty stuff, and I think they said it sets in 5 minutes or 10 minutes but completely cures in an hour. So I don't know if I want to wait an hour and throw some gas at it, because I'm going to put some on the inside and the outside. So I'm probably just going to let it sit overnight, and that'll give it time to dry. And hopefully we can patch that hole, and I won't have to buy a gas tank too soon. and we can get some gas in it and get it running off the gas in the gas tank with the new fuel pump. So I'm gonna get to work and I'll show you what the outcome looks like on the gas tank. Alright, so different day, different things to do on the Daytona. So in the last video I did, we did get it to spark. We did pour some gas down the throttle body, and we did get it to crank up and run off some gas that I just poured down in it. And the fuel pump was no good. It was you know, locked up or whatever. So I did, as I shown, pull the fuel pump out. Got a new one that I had on the shelf for years. We got it in, and we were addressing the gas tank leak. So I used some of that gas tank repair stuff and got it on there. And what I did was I put it on there, let it sit overnight. Came out this morning, I poured like a cup full of gas down in the tank, and it had a little bitty leak, just leaking out of one little crack where I overlaid the gas tank repair putty. So what I did was just clean it off real good. I took some rags and soaked up the gas out of the gas tank real good, and I took some JB Weld and just went around it with JB Weld, mixed it up, smeared it on there. I just covered the whole area, and I've been letting it sit all day. So it's pretty much hard right now. So I could have just let it leak. It's just a little, I mean, teeny leak. I mean, I was gonna buy a gas tank for this thing anyway, but I said, you know what, let's try and keep this budget friendly until we get it running and get it all dialed in. So I said, we'll just run it with the gas tank. I also put on a new filler neck seal, because the other one was all dry rotted. That one's made by Spectra. What's that? Spectra Premium. So O'Reilly's had that in stock. And I also put on new 516 fuel lines. The fuel lines was all dry rotted, so I went ahead and replaced all those. And over here at the fuel filter, I took the fuel filter off. It's just one of those metal filters that don't have a cartridge inside. I forgot to pick up one, so I just rinsed it out real good with some brake cleaner. It didn't have nothing in it, and shook it out. And I went ahead and replaced the new 516 fuel lines there. So as of right now, up under the car is done as far as this part of the fuel system. I got to go up front and back up here. I got to go up here up front and fix those burnt wires that goes to the throttle body. They were melted in some spots, and the plugs were broken and dry rotted. So like I said, I went down to the yard and picked up some more plugs. Let's see, like this one here that goes to the throttle body. See where the wires is all dry rotted, and I kind of moved the rubber back, the little seal, to see was it touching in there, and it was. So all that's dry rotted, and you can see the wires been chewed on by mice. So I'm going to just replace all these plugs. This goes to the throttle position sensor. Hopefully the throttle body's some good. If not, I got one. You can see the wires are melted and the little clip that holds it onto the sensor is broken. So all these wires here, I'm gonna go through, replace all the plugs on it, and get that all plugged up, and then I'm not gonna put any gas in until I'm ready to crank it. I want that JB Weld to really cure. So anyway, that's where I'm at on it. So I'm gonna let it down. I'm gonna start working on replacing these wires, and I still gotta come over here and get some more wire loom stuff or whatever and cover up all these wires that I uncovered looking for broken, chewed up wires. So I gotta go through, cover that up, cover these wires up, get those little connectors off while I was jumping stuff out and ohming it with the meter, and get the battery back in it, and hopefully we can get this thing to crank up on its own power. Now down in the radiator, I looked, it is empty down in there. Let's see if I can. It looks like it's something at the bottom. I can't really get no light. I don't have my stick light. It looks like it's something in there. I don't know if it's water or old antifreeze. I was going to just pull the hose off and let whatever it is drain out. But hopefully it's got antifreeze in it and it didn't freeze up and crack the head or crack the block. It's so low that it's not even up to the top radiator hose. So hopefully when we put coolant in it, the engine is, you know, it don't have any crack block or crack head or nothing from it sitting with water or whatever's in there. So that's just something we just gotta keep our fingers crossed and hope it pan out, because the engine right now sounds pretty good. Let's see if we can, maybe that light's bright enough. It's way down in there. It looks like water. It's so far down in there you can't even see it. So hopefully it's just low enough, if it is water, that it wasn't in the block and the thermostat's closed, and if it's a thermostat in it, hopefully, and it didn't let none sit in there and freeze up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the tire back on, get it back down on the ground, grab me a sandwich, and we'll get those wires fixed. Alright, so it's time to do our first initial start, running off of the fuel tank, the fuel pump, and the throttle body. So I went ahead and fixed all these wires that was burnt and rotted at the plugs that goes to the throttle body. We got all that situated. I'm gonna take care of that wire mess over there last, because I got to get some more wire loom to cover that up, and it kind of V's off everywhere. So I'm gonna have to go through and just really cover that up nice and neat. So that's not no worry. So I haven't cranked it yet, haven't tried to crank it, haven't primed the system. It's cold, it's been sitting here. So hopefully it picks right up and runs off of the throttle body, and I don't have to swap that out. I know we're probably going to have some smokage, because still got a lot of that transmission fluid down in the cylinders and stuff. I did put some power steering fluid in it, and I found a cap for the power steering pump. So So we're gonna try and fire it up, see what happens. So you guys ready? Here we go. I'm gonna turn the key on and off a couple times. Try and prime the system. I don't know if you can hear the fuel pump. We'll try that. I got a little go-go juice. We'll pour off in it. Hopefully our fuel system is going to work. Pour that off. Fire the hole. And shut off. Sounds like it's trying to pick up the fuel out the throttle body. Hopefully the injector's not stuck wide open. Oh man, it is just pouring gas down in there. That injector is flooding it out big time. I'm probably going to have to change that injector out. And I'll show you why. As I was spinning it over, I can see down in there, you can probably see the gas just pouring. Now we're not doing anything. Key is still on. I seen gas just spitting up out of there. See how the gas is just pouring in there? Something's up with that injector. That injector is sticking. It's just flooding it out. Oh man, look at that. It is just flooding it. So, I guess I'm gonna have to change that injector. Probably this fuel pressure regulator is probably stuck wide open. So I got another throttle body back there. I'm gonna have to go dig out. It wants to run. Seems like to me it's just flooding it out. Woo! Yeah. We're going to have to change that injector. You can see it just leaking. So let me dig that out, get that swapped over, and we will continue on. So I was able to find my parts, throttle body, and I was able to pull out the injector and the fuel pressure regulator. So what we're going to do here, we're going to pull this one out, which that screw is already loose. Somebody's been in here. Basically all this consists of is of these. I better not take that all the way loose because it might have fuel pressure and I don't want to get sprayed. So we'll just barely gently pry it up a little bit. In that case, if there's any fuel pressure, won't spray gas everywhere. Hopefully we don't have to take the throttle body off and actually clean it, which has been a while since I messed with one of these. So. Bad gas smell. Alright, so we unplugged the injector. I'm going to take this gasket off. And this should just pop up out of there. Somehow. Don't tell me it's a screw up under there. I think it's basically kind of like a clip. The other one was kind of halfway hanging in. I don't want to come unplugged on this one. That didn't sound good. One side of the clip broke. So this right here is just the wiring. Well, I'll be damned. There's no injector in here. No wonder it's just spraying the gas. Someone robbed the injector out of it. That's why the screw is loose. This is the injector right here. So somebody robbed the injector out of it, and it was just pouring gas straight down in the engine. That's why when I turn it over, you see gas is flowing. Who will rob the injector and then put it all back together? That is, I guess somebody at the junkyard was stealing injectors. So that's pretty good. So we got one. I'm glad I got one. So basically, this injector just sits down in there, and you got your hot and your ground. I guess you can see that from here. And that's just the plug that goes on it. Wow. So anyway, it just basically just probably need to put like some lubricant or something around that O-ring. This car is just full of surprises, I tell you. So the injector, it's got a screw down in there. Actually just pushes down in there. Then we put the harness back on top of it. And now we got to plug this doozer back up. And there you have it. That's why that screw was loose on top of the injector housing, because there wasn't an injector in there. So I'm thinking I'm just going to use the pressure regulator that came off the other one, because that other one's probably full of bad gas or something, so we'll just go with it. Put our screw back in there. Wow, I mean, man, these junkyard cars. Somebody went through the trouble of pulling that thing out. I don't know how they got it out of there without taking the regulator out, because the screws were tight. Unless somebody sabotaged this car. That is amazing. Screw that back down there. Put the harness back on. And that's it. So hopefully now we'll get a better response. We'll put the gasket. That one's kind of torn, so we'll use the gasket off the other one. It's in a lot better shape. And we'll get you guys set up once more. But first I'm going to show you this other throttle body. Where I was saying about the injector, it just sits right down that hole. So it didn't have nothing in that one, it was just empty. So now we're going to try this once more. I think we'll get a better response now that we got some way to really pump the gas over there. If somebody highway robbed the injector. So get you guys sit back up here on the stand here. Alright, so y'all ready again? We're gonna try it again. Here we go. Maybe we get a better response this time. Heat is on. Drop a little fuel in there. Try to run on its own. Running off just where I poured in here, or if that injector is even working. Find out. Still just blaring the gas over in there for some reason. I don't know why, but it's still dumping a lot of fuel in there. Like it's overfueling. I think we might have an injector problem because it is just really pouring the gas over in there. Even with the injector in there now, it just It's like I'm just pouring gas with a gas in the cup, which is strange. I think our injector and took a crap. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to just go ahead and buy a new injector. So let me call and see what one costs. And we'll let that starter cool off and let it air out in here a little bit, because it is kind of smoky, and we'll get back. Alright, so we finally got new parts for the throttle body. We got this ultra power fuel injector. Picked this up from Rock Auto. This is the correct fuel injector for it. It comes in like a little capsule, so we got to get it up out of there. I'll show you that. Then we got this GP, what's Sorienzin, whatever. This is the fuel pressure regulator. That's a part number. You need it. So I went ahead and picked this up. It's a brand new fuel pressure regulator. It goes right on top of the throttle body. So we're going to install the new injector, which they got it in this capsule, and I don't want to break it to get it out. Why would they put it in something like that? It's unreal. They want you to break it so you can buy another one. Ain't that how it works? Just gotta get something to pull it out. That was scary. Being that none of the auto parts stores here in town has injector. So this single injector goes into the throttle body. It's just set up there. Goes right in the middle. And it has an O-ring that keeps it in there tight. So what I'm gonna do is put just a little thin coat of grease on it. Just so it can slip down in there and seal. Goes in there like that. I think it'll go down a little further. Maybe as far down as it goes. Let's see if I can put the cap on it. No, it's got to go down further than that. Don't want to break it. Actually, it is far down as it goes. Sticking up a hair. Wonder why. I know the other one don't have an O-ring at the bottom. I think it might have went down a little further. That is strange. The little cap don't go. Don't want to crack it. I guess you just have to put the cap on there and tighten it down. We'll see how that works. It's supposed to be the correct one for it. So here's our new pressure regulator with the gasket. Probably need to put a little coat of grease on there too. It's nice to have brand new parts. One more screw. All right, so open the window so we have some ventilation. Turn our exhaust fan on. And get you guys set up. Okay, so we're gonna fire this thing up. Hopefully it runs right. No issues. Here we go. Little whining noise is the power steering pump. it is running. I'm wondering if you're supposed to have the breather sitting on it because it actually hooks into the computer. Trying to smooth out. Put the breather on it. to be running pretty smooth now. Just has that little lag spot in it. So the check engine light is on. So I don't know if that has something to do because we don't have a converter on it, or the oxygen sensor is not working. Temperature is just now starting to go up a little bit. It's got oil pressure, I assume. Actually running pretty smooth. Has that lag spot in it, like it's loading up. Now they have the fan straight wired, so I'm probably going to have to hook it back up like that. Well, we could just plug it back in and see does it work. Looks like they replaced the temp sensor. Now it's running smoother. Loading up a little bit. It's getting better though. So I'm going to put a fresh battery in the camera because it's about to die, and we'll get back here in a second. Well, I let it sit for a minute, and now it's running kind of smooth, sitting here idling, real smooth. I'm gonna get in there and hit the gas and see if it starts breaking up again. The computer just had to adjust to the engine, but you can see it's running smooth. It's not running hot. Temperature is staying normal. The fan hasn't kicked on yet, but I got it plugged up the way it's supposed to be plugged up without being jumped to the relay with a wire going straight to the harness, which has positive all the time. So I haven't tried to put it in gear yet because the shifter is stuck. I gotta lube the shifter. I could try and put it in gear and just ease out the clutch. Just see what happens. Well, it moved. The temperature hand is all the way up on high. It's starting to boil and the fan didn't kick on. That's not good. That don't sound good at all. That fan don't sound good. I don't know if the relay is bad. Put our test relay in there. I'm going to put this and just turn the key on. I don't hear a fan. It's back normal though. See, does the fan kick back on again? Now it's running without the converter because it don't have one, so that could be throwing the computer off too because it don't have that back pressure and the converter, and the oxygen sensor might be trying to read just straight air without the converter on there. So we'll put one of those on there pretty soon, but she runs good. pressure is right where it needs to be. No smoke coming out of the tailpipe. There you have it, folks. The Junkyard Daytona runs. It's been a long road to get it to where it's at now. That fan's kicking on and kicking off like it's supposed to. Still got to put a power steering pump on it because it constantly leaks. Put fluid in it and leak right back out. And I got to get the headlights where they come up because they won't come up for nothing. So that's it, folks. Whoa. That's it for right now. So we're gonna shut it down for the night, and we might fire it up here in a minute and see what else we can get to work on it. But right now it's mainly just getting the power steering to work and getting the brakes to work, and I gotta lube that shifter because I can only get 2 gears and it's kind of stiff. So we're gonna let it sit here and cool. I'll probably crank it again and start thinking about what else to do on it. So after I just let it sit here and idle for a while, I started noticing it was oil up on the car, so I thought it was the power steering pump because it don't work anyway. Didn't have a top on it and it was sitting there squeaking. So I said, wait a minute, let me check the oil. And it was like a quart low on oil, which I know was full. So I went ahead and pulled the timing cover off, and lo and behold, the cam seal has slipped out of the head and it just sprayed oil everywhere when I cranked it up. You can see oil back here, all on the power steering pump bracket, and it's all on back of the block. So I'm gonna have to take the timing belt off and put a new cam seal in. You can see it hanging out right there, and on back of the cam gear it's just soaked with oil. This car has more problems than a pregnant nun. But it does run. So I'm gonna have to take the timing belt off and I'm going to get another power steering pump anyway, so that one had to come off. So that's going to be it for tonight. I'll look up a cam seal. I might as well just go ahead and change the crank seal too, the front crank seal. That way I won't have to go back in there. I mean, for $20, $30 for both seals, we'll solve that problem. So back to the drawing board, but things are looking good. Okay, now I gotta remove everything to get the timing cover off so we can replace this cam seal and the crank seal. Now I picked up 2 seals from O'Reilly's, and they're supposed to be the correct seals. They were showing like 2 or 3 different seals for this engine. So I've already had this off before because I went ahead and put a water pump on it because the water pump started spewing antifreeze everywhere. So now I just got to pull all this out again because the timing cover is in behind this bracket, which is held on with a couple bolts, but you can't get to it unless you take all this stuff off. Of course, the compressor is no good anyway. It's locked up. It won't even turn. The pulley turns, but the compressor don't. So it's gonna need a new compressor. So now I gotta pull the alternator off, and that's gonna be a fun job. It's got this one bolt that goes through the compressor bracket, and then there's a tensioner down there that you gotta undo to get the tension off the belt. And I gotta unhook the battery. But yeah, the timing cover, I got the top part off, but the lower part is in behind this compressor bracket, and I gotta pull the lower pulley off and then get it top dead center, and then we'll be there. So I'm gonna go ahead and snatch all that off of there. You can probably see the new water pump down there. I'm gonna go ahead and snatch all that off there and then show you what I got. So I got all the timing cover and stuff off, the brackets. There's the timing belt. Now I marked this timing belt. It's still good and tight. It don't look dry rotted or anything. So I just went ahead and marked the teeth right here with the belt, and I put an arrow so I know what direction the belt is going when I put it back on. And I also marked the balance shaft. That gear right there, I think it's the balance shaft gear. It's to keep the engine from shaking, keeps it balanced, I believe. So I went ahead and marked that also. And then on these 2.5s, the way you can check top dead center, it has a get all that out of the way. It has a mark right here on the bell housing. Now this is on both automatic and 5 speeds. That's your timing mark right there. It actually says 0. And then you have these 2 little slots on the flywheel or torque converter, and you just line it up with the mark. So I have it marked right there. So the only thing to do now is we go up under the bottom, and there is the tensioner right there. We'll take that bolt loose, and the belt should come loose. And I see the timing mark. It's actually those 2 dots right there. I think they're supposed to line up. There's a dot right there and there's a line right there on the balance shaft, I believe. But it's at top dead center. I stuck a screwdriver down in the plug hole and it's up. So I'm not real sure if those marks are supposed to line up across from each other, but I'm just going by where the thing is on the flywheel. So we'll just leave it like that. As long as you get the belt back on where it's supposed to be, it should be okay. And you don't move the engine, which I have a book I can always reference and look in. So we'll check that out in the book, but I'm pretty sure we're at top dead center. Even on our distributor there, it's pointing at number 1. So I will double check that. We're going to release the tensioner and get the belt off, and then we'll get this camshaft nut loose, which really I could get it loose with the belt on there, but it might skip a teeth or something. So I'll just wait. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. And we'll get that situated. But let's just go ahead and remove this. Trying to get it some light there. Let's go ahead and remove this tensioner here and get that out of the way, and then I'll get the cam gear off and show you that. So here's our seals. This is the cam seal here. This is the one that popped out of the head, and it is brittle. You can probably see the cracks in it, I guess. And this is the crank seal. It's also brittle, hard as a rock. So we got the new cam sealed in. I put just a little coat of silicone on the outside of it, and that will dry up and kind of hold it in place. But I believe the reason why it spun out because it was frozen to the cam gear, well actually to the crank. And when it, I mean not crank, but cam shaft thingy. And when it finally cranked up, it just stuck to it and spun it out. But so behind that gear there is the crankshaft seal. Now it does have a seal behind the balancer gear. I don't have one, so I'm gonna see if I can get one. I would like to go ahead and replace it. I don't know if they leaked that much oil. It don't look like it was leaking behind it. I think it gets more oil up in the head into the crankshaft. So I'm gonna see if I got one. If not, if I can get one tonight, I'll go ahead and slam it in there, and we'll get the timing belt back on, get all the accessories back on there, and I'm gonna put some I'm gonna change the oil again since we've been running it. I'm gonna change the oil again, and then I also went to the yard today and I picked up a power steering pump because the old pump, I can't find a top to it. This one right here has a different setup with the bracket, but it's the same motor. I was able to get the lines, but I had to cut that one. And so I'm thinking I can make that line work on the back. And also we got a master cylinder, so I got these pretty cheap, so I'll be putting this on too. Hopefully we can get power steering, because the other pump leaks, and like I said, I can't find a cap to it, because it's some kind of plastic pump. So I removed the bracket already, So hopefully we can slide that other one on there. It's like this thing is Daytona only. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that around the motor that's somewhat Daytona, but that came off of Aries, the power steering pump, so we're gonna try and put it on there, which it should bolt right up. My only problem is that high pressure line. It's got a different line on this one, but I might be able to make it work. So I'm gonna get back to work and we'll get this thing fired up. So I got the timing belt back on, and I did a little reset on the timing. They had the distributor, whoever put the belt on, they had the distributor turned all the way to the right so far. It's supposed to be straight in the middle. So I ended up resetting the cam and got the distributor was turned straight. And she's running. Not gonna let it run long because I don't have an alternator or nothing hooked up. Just wanted to make sure the timing was right. So that part is done. So now I'm gonna start putting it back together and play around with the power steering and see if we can get this thing to turn with one finger. So we got some goodies today in the mail. Show you what we got for the Daytona. In this box here is the converter pipe setup. Straight from Rock Auto. Box looks kind of dusty, like it's been sitting up for a long time. So we're going to open it up and there's really no packaging included. There it is. This is the catalytic converter. It's got the flange on there. So this is supposed to be a direct fit for the Daytona, and I think something else is in the box. Probably some clamps. We got our flange gasket, donut gasket as you call it. It's got the exhaust bolts that goes to the manifold with the springs. So we got our exhaust bolts. Got the instructions like we really need them. Here's a new donut gasket and a clamp. So that is the whole kit to put the exhaust back up under the Daytona. So I already got it in the air. So what I'm gonna do is slide under there and remove that flex pipe that I temporarily put up under there. And also got the power steering pump on it, the one I got from the salvage yard. It works, but it leaks. That's why there's oil dry up under the car. Car's been sitting for a couple days. Came out here, and there is a puddle. So there's the pump. So I'm going to attempt to take it off and just rebuild it. I've ordered a seal kit for it. I'm trying to keep this as low budget as I can, but this thing is really being a pain in the butt. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and sound like that's a fancy going by. I'm gonna go ahead and take this flex pipe off. We'll get the exhaust up under it, and then we'll fire it up and see how quiet it is. I've done a lot to it off camera, like replacing the oil seal, I got all the wiring situated over here that goes to the computer. Got everything covered up as best as I could. Repinned the plug for the computer. So we're gonna get this thing ready to sound nice and quiet. So we are still in the air, and we got the exhaust finished. I'll give you guys a good look-see. So there's our flange pipe, all connected with the new bolts that came with the flange. Here's our new converter. Slid right inside of here. I just had to make a couple slices in the pipe to get out the part that was slid in there that was cut off, so we can slide that right in there. And we installed a new clamp. So there's a new converter, and we're gonna fire up and she should be quiet. That's how it's supposed to sound. Well, boys and girls, got the exhaust on there, the converter. She sounds pretty quiet. A little cold nature, but it's run smooth though. Quieting on down now. Sounds good. Burning some of that paint and stuff off of the new converter. That's good. got the exhaust put on. I gotta fix the power steering pump, rebuild it. And, come to find out that the heater core is leaking. So that's just something else I gotta address. And then we gotta do the brakes. I also was able to come in here and I got the shifter tore apart and I lubed all the points, so now it moves. It's just still kind of stiff. This cable right here for the reverse is needs a new cable, but I took it off and greased it so I can get it in the gears, but it's just stiff going in reverse. So I think after I drive it a while, it should free up. It should have like a little ring right here that you pull up with your fingers and pull it over to put it in reverse. It actually operates this here. So when you pull it all the way over, it goes in reverse. But it's just kind of stiff, but I can get it in gear. And I got to put all that back together. The blower motor does work. I got this control out of the Aries. Blowing all this kind of stuff out. Probably mouse collective stuff. So that one there has got some kind of goo hanging off of it. Look like it just got hot and melted. I don't know, but we're gonna replace that. Sounds pretty good. The pressure was locked up, so I just left the belt off of it. And I still gotta fix those dang headlights. So that's gonna be it for right now. So you guys just stay tuned. There's gonna be more to come on the Daytona. We get some brakes on it, and we should be able to get it where it's drivable. That's my next thing. I'm gonna go ahead and put the heater core in it, and since I got the dashboard pulled apart, we'll go ahead and slam that in there and get this thing out on the road. So you guys just keep watching, like, share, subscribe, do what you want to do. And I'll holler at y'all later. So we'll holler at y'all later. And I gotta fix that doggone cooling fan.